Arena, appear for me, please. Thank you very much. Temur Obosh. How did we get here? It's a really good question, honestly. It was a bit of a joke to start with that ended up being not quite as much of a joke as you might think. We were working on Temur Ramp, to put it in the bluntest possible way. Thought Temur Ramp was a little of an underappreciated deck, and was working away on it. And when I reached a list I was happy with, I realised, hey, look, there's only one even card that I actually want, and it's Scorching Dragonfire. Like, how can I live without Scorching Dragonfire to have access to a companion? So I tried Obosh as a joke, to be brutally honest with you, and it turns out it interacts extremely well with Terror of the Peaks. Doubling Terror of the Peaks damage is kind of disgusting. Lovestruck Beasts punching you in the face for 10 is kind of disgusting. It became pretty clear early on that we might be onto something, and honestly, we just kept smashing through. We are somewhere between mid-range and ramp. We're a bit of a weird mix. We do have the stereotypical adventures package you would expect in the form of Edgewall Innkeeper and this pile of adventures, Lovestruck Beasts, Bonecrusher Giants, Brazen Borrowers, Beanstalk Giants, etc., etc. So we can have some acceleration in the form of Cultivate and Beanstalk Giant to get towards this top end, but we are skewed slightly towards being more mid-rangey, mainly because we can win an awful lot of games just by punching people in the air with Brazen Borrowers, or taking them down with Bonecrusher Giants, Lovestruck Beasts, Kazandu Mammoths, very much like Gruul does, with the extra damage boost provided by this lovely, lovely Obosh. A little bit of interaction here and there. We've got some flip land spells, just kind of make up the land count that can also be good hits off of Genesis Ultimatum, which does provide itself to be your biggest win condition. You'll often cast Genesis Ultimatum, just flip a ton of garbage into play, and if a Terror of the Peaks happens to be in there, your opponent normally dies. Mana base is slightly sketchy. I'm not 100% on this. We're a little light on basic lands for Beanstalk Giant and Cultivate. Can't really find room without cutting Mammoths, Glasspool Mimics, or Spike Shard Hazard, though, so not entirely sure I'm happy with this, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're still winning it a second. So something I'm definitely monitoring, but I think we're okay. Sideboard should be fairly intuitive all round. Disputes, blue decks, pretty self-explanatory. Soulseer there for basically Lovestruck Beast decks and anything with 5 toughness. Garrick's Harbinger is the flex slot. I think if you're going to end up cutting anything to make room, it's probably this. It is good against all the black removal decks, though. It tends to be pretty reasonable against red-black sack, depending on the list they're on as well. You don't have problem cleaning up Maya Tritons and stuff like that, so it does tend to get in and draw you cards pretty well. Thrashing Brontodon, anyone with a Great Henge, anyone with an Embercleave, the Esper, Doom matchups, stuff like that, just a great card to have access to. Clothis, fantastic for red-black, anyone who's relying on their graveyard. And the 3 copies of Ox of Aganas, basically there for rogues and just rogues, so that we have an escape card in our deck that we can abuse in situations like that. Hopefully that makes a chunk of sense. Really excited by this one. We've got a couple of minutes now until things are starting. Just keeping half an eye on the Discord and on MTG Melee. So, of course, as always, folks, when tournament play is happening, please keep in mind that I can't have outside assistance. I probably won't be looking at chat during the games just to make sure that no one does anything silly, because that would suck. It would be an awfully crap way to go, given how hot we're running at the second. Otherwise, I'll interact with you as best I can. If you do have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, one way or the other. Really looking forward to playing this one. Haven't played anything on Melee in a little while. And, of course, we've been cooking in the kitchen to some success recently, so hopefully we can put up a decent result. For those who might be interested in what's required for this event, 4-2 earns us a qualification to the event tomorrow. So the final is tomorrow. It's a 5k, I believe. So 4-2 earns us the qualification. It also earns us... No, so yeah, so 4-2 earns us the qualification. 5-1 earns us the qualification with a bye. And 6-0 qualifies us with 2 byes. So there is stuff at stake all the way through the 6 rounds. And I believe there are currently... Let's take a look. There are 269 players in this event, including some big names too. There are definitely some names that I recognise in the mist here. So looks really cool. Looking forward to playing it. Just waiting for round 1 pairings. So if you do have any questions while we're waiting, by all means hit me up. I'll do what I can to answer them for you. Otherwise, thank you for stopping by, and hopefully we'll be underway sooner rather than later. I just like to get things up and running ahead of time, so I'm not having to panic and scream and run As I say, currently running very, very hot. Number 77 at this moment in time on the Mythic ladder with this brew. And we are 16-3 according to untapped.gg. So really looking forward to this one. Should be a blast. Because I cannot see what my opponent is playing. Which is a little unfortunate. Okay, this is a mulligan. It's kind of close. Third land does turn on the hand pretty well, but it's not quite there. This is a fair bit better. And I probably put back the innkeeper here. Alright, let's get this cooking, shall we? Literally starting round 1 at the moment, Adam. Not entirely sure why I can't see my opponent's deck list, but I am going into this match dark, because I can't actually see what they're doing. Looks like it might be big rogues. Our record against rogues has been pretty good. Looking like big rogues. Pretty happy to just lead on the mammoth here and see what happens. I don't expect this to resolve, but I also don't much care. Apparently it did. If it survives, this is going to be truly remarkable, but hey. Who am I to complain? Okay, opponent hasn't done anything yet. I don't see a world where we don't try and resolve the Great Henge here. It's just too good if it sticks. Jesus. Okay. Well, that was interesting. I would really like to know how to sideboard, if I'm being honest, but I just don't have my opponent's deck list. This is kind of annoying. I'm going to take a chance and refresh the melee page, just in case it does anything. It does! Holy shit! Okay, it's Temur Rogues. It's big rogues. It's the version with 3 Zareth San in the main. Okay, melee was just clearly bugged out and I couldn't see the deck list for some reason, but I have it now, so sure. So big rogues, they have a Rankle, they have 3 Zareth San, they have a main deck Lurrus, they have 1 main deck Law Mage's Domination. They have a Scourge of the Skyclaves in their sideboard, whack. Now the Law Mages, they only have 1 negate. How many disputes? 3? So 3 dispute, 1 negate, 2 anti-cognition. Huh. Okay, so I think that means I'm on 3 Ox, 2 dispute, and I'm cutting 2 cultivate, 2 ultimatum, and a brazen borrower. Tends to be my default in these spots. I cut the ultimatums if they have more than 6 pieces of counter magic normally, and I'm going to count the anti-cognitions. So they do have 7, along with the Drown in the Locks. The Drown in the Locks are both removal and counter magic. We don't consider those. I tend to lean between Glasspool Mimic and the Borrower, but Borrower is just not very good in this matchup. In fairness, Borrower is a bit better when he has Nighthawk, Scavenger, Rankle, and Zareth San. So I might go this way instead. And see what that looks like. Thanks everyone for the good luck wishes, by the way. I appreciate that. On to game 2. 7 lands is not a keep in any world. Let's take a mulligan. This is defendable on 6. It's a little slow, but it's better than your average 5. Do I care about the Mammoth or the Beanstalk more? I think I actually care about the Beanstalk slightly more. Well, there's a Wind Robber on 1 this time. That would have made it a whole lot easier to guess. I think I'm happy leading on the Triome here. It's really hard for me not to be just playing lands from my end every turn. Temple of Deceit. Yeah. Would love to draw like a Bone Crusher Giant. Apparently not. There is an awful lot of lands on top of my deck. Wishing I kept the Mammoth now, obviously, but hey, it's fine. Okay, opponent with a reasonably aggressive start. Does mill over an Ox for me, but I am slightly land flooded, so that might not matter. Okay, 5 cards end up being currently. If I Beanstalk, I'm getting milled into oblivion. If I Bone Crush the Wind Robber, I'm not exactly achieving very much though. I think I just prefer accelerating. I'm going to fetch a blue source so I can represent Dispute. Opponent missing their land drops is actually kind of terrifying. Okay. There is no way in hell there's not a Drown in the Lock in my opponent's hand. It's just impossible. I think I wait one more turn to Ox. I'm not in danger of my opponent into the storying me yet. So I think I try and empty my hand just a smidgen more. Not sure. Maybe I'm just supposed to aggressively Ox. I'm choosing not to put the Obosh in my hand, obviously, because that would be dumb if I'm planning on discarding my hand next turn. Brazen Borrower. They do only have 2 of those. Do I ever fizzle this Brazen Borrower? I don't think so. Opponent fizzles this always, right? What the fuck? How do you drown that? How do you not just crack your Wind Robber? Maybe they think the only way they're winning is the clock in the air? That would make some sense. How do you crack it post-combat? What the fuck? I'm so confused by that. Okay, we definitely don't Ox anymore. Opponent will crack this win robber, but again, that's just not what we care about. It's just not dying at this point in time. They do have Into the Story online now. I don't understand that Drown in the Lock. It was so confusing to me. Kicks a Blood Chief's Thirst, sure. Let's pull up this Ox and see what we find. Oh, 8. Whoops. What's not selected? You. There's a good chance I pull up the other Ox, depending on what I draw. Dispute Terror Mammoth. That's actually kind of close to being a keep. Huh. Sure, I'll bite. I'll bite. It does leave 10 cards in my bin, but I have the Dispute for Into the Story. I can't dispute a Drown in the Lock though now, because my opponent did have land 5, and they were likely to have land 5 to be fair, so that might have been a mistake. Because I end up with a very anemic clock if they have a Drown for this Ox. That might have been a small oversight. This is actually kind of close. I should have been more careful with how... I couldn't have changed it. I can't Ox and hold up Dispute. So I don't think I'm supposed to. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Huh? Excuse me? Did he just dispute his own borrower? Hello? What? I am confused. I should be dead. What just happened? Heck yeah, 0% mythic. Excuse me? Okay, well, That was a bit surreal. Yeah, they must have misclicked. I don't understand. I'm just going to watch it back real quick. Yeah, it looks like they disputed their own borrower and then couldn't pay for it. Crazy. Alright, so want to know, I should probably sort out an on-screen graphic for that because I haven't had to make one of them in a while. This looks fairly stock. It's the Claim the Firstborn Village Rights version of the deck. He's playing 3 Croxus, 3 main deck Shades, which is fine. Let's cancel this and reissue the challenge. 1 Kazul's Fury. Shredded Sails are in the sideboard. Looks fairly stock otherwise. Only 1 Woe Strider. I think this is the Mateus Leverato list. Is what it looks like. If there are different cards, there could be slightly different cards, but it looks pretty close to Mateus Leverato. So don't panic, chat. I'll obviously interact with you when I can, but I'll be back in a little bit. As need to make sure no one's helping me during the games. Let's kick some Rakdos butt, shall we? Hand is a shade awkward. Brazen Borrower isn't great against Rakdos, but this version does have 3 Rankle. Does get fizzled by Village Rights quite easily, though. I think this is borderline a keep, but it is close. On the play, I probably mulligan this. But on the draw, I think it's just about a keep. That's an interestingly good draw step. We'll make a 1-1. I like my Rakdos matchup. I think I'm 4-0 against it so far. So, hoping I can take this one home as well. Another Forest. Opponent does know what I'm on, so I'm going to play the Mountain, but I am going to play the Innkeeper with the intention of hopefully getting it to draw me a card next turn off Lovestruck Beast. It dies some amount of the time. Most of my opponent's removal is expensive or Claim the Firstborn plus Sack Outlet, so there are 4 Bloodchief Thirst though, so there is a reasonable chance that it dies, but I think it's high enough upside that we let it slide. We're going to be quite tied up on mana, and drawing cards seems pretty darn valuable at this moment in time. Land 3, Blind Tiramet maybe? Maybe 2-drop plus. Oh, just Shatter Smashing's the Innkeeper. Valid. I don't hate that. Lands are good draws here. I have to play this as a blue source, so I'm going to do that and just play out this Lovestruck Beast. Get in for 1. Pass a turn. Keep working our way towards our endgame. Woe Strider. Sure. Don't mind that one too much. Claim the Firstborn is very bad for me, though. That's unfortunate. Tops the scry. Well, I'm definitely drawing my lands, right? Don't see a need to put Obosh into my hand here. I think I'd rather hold up Brazen Borrower. Take 3 if the opponent attacks. It's fine. Kazul's Fury's been played tapped, so I haven't got to worry about one of them anymore. Do I ever flash in this Brazen Borrower here? I definitely get a blue source, there's no doubt about that. Do I flash you in? think so. Well, we'll be able to cast Ultimatum, alright. No doubt about that. That's fine. Village Rights not eating one of my creatures is a win as far as I'm concerned. Lucky to have avoided Croxus so far. Kicks Bloodchief's Thirst on the dragon, sure. Are currently winning this race, which is nice. Okay, well, our next couple turns are going to be fairly rolled up, I would think. There's the Croxer. I am just going to discard Obosh. He can't quite bring it back, so... Does have another one, though. So I have to discard an Ultimatum to make sure I can cast the other one. Obviously, drawing a land, you're like, oh, why did I discard the Ultimatum? But I just need to make sure that I can cast at least one of them. Would be rather greedy to hang on to them both. Island. Bang. That is not insane, but we do find another Ultimatum. Okie dokie. Flashing in this Brazen Borrower was so correct, it's done like 9 damage. It's just kind of unreal. Opponent deep in the tank trying to figure it out. Does kill the flyer. Interesting factoid, by the way, folks, that a lot of people forget when they're playing against me. If you target Bonecrusher Giant while I have an Obosh in play, you do take 4 damage. Don't forget that. It killed a man earlier. In the immortal words of the youth of today, yeet! That is not very good, is it? I think I'm going to draw this Borrower and kill my opponent. Alright, cool. Game 1 goes to the home team. Rakdos, Rakdos, Rakdos. Gruul, Harbinger, Clothis, God of Destiny. Cultivates, please leave my deck. Glasspool Mimic, please leave my deck. And a Kazandu Mammoth, please leave my deck. Off to game number 2. By the way, just while I've got a second in between games, you lovely folks, if you're not going to be here for the entire stream or you want to see more of this deck in the future, first of all, chuck us a follow because, you know, that's mainly where I am. But more importantly, highlights from today's stream will be up on YouTube when I get the chance to edit them together, so probably sometime near the start of the week. If you haven't subscribed to me on YouTube yet, you can go and do that too. And you can catch up with all the best parts of today's tournament over there at your own leisure, should you not be able to stick around for the entire stream. Thanks everyone who's hanging out. Nice to see so many new friendly faces checking us out today, especially given that we're in an earlier time slot than normal. Back to the match, hopefully, in a minute. Alrighty, game number 2. Really hard not to keep a hand with Clothis in this matchup. It's just kind of the nuts. Hand isn't great, but, I mean, Clothis. I don't think I'm ever mulliganing a Clothis against this deck. So, unless I can't cast it, obviously, in which case, you know, sure. Opponent does have 2 Duress, 2 Agonizing Remorse in the board that we kind of need to be a little scared of. They do take a mulligan. It's only really the Remorse that... Wait. Wow. Scott saying the word mulligan and therefore clicking the word mulligan. Fuck, I'm good at this. Don't mull that hand, chat. Don't mull that hand. Keep my 7. Unless you're me, where you say the word mulligan and therefore click the word mulligan. Professional. Thankfully, I drew a Clothis anyway. But that would have been slightly embarrassing. It still is slightly embarrassing. Oh well. No one has to know except everyone who's watching or watches this in the future. Only those people need to know. Opponent has 0 copies of Farika's Libation, by the way. So. Don't have to worry about that one, which is always nice. Pretty easy, slick start for us here, nothing too complicated. Just use our mana efficiently, accelerate as best we can, get ready to draw some cards off this Innkeeper. Let Clothis do the work. Hard cast Bonecrusher Giant. This is, I commend my opponent actually, because this is not an easy play to make sometimes, especially given there's a 1/1 in play. And they've correctly identified that the way they win this game is by racing me. And it's very easy to not figure that out. So fair play to my opponent. That's a really good play and should be acknowledged as such. I did draw a very similar hand. Let's be fair. Was certainly similar. Down goes ye old Terror of the Peaks. I'll eat this Hagra Mauling. There's a good chance I'm meant to have a 3rd Clothis, but this card is just the stones, man. Honestly, it's just so good. Can't quite cast that. We'll put Obosh in our hand. Woe Strider, yep. It's amazing just how little I care about what my opponent is doing. That's a little rude. I would like to have kept my Innkeeper, but honestly, I'm glad they left me with the Lovestruck Beast, because I want to cast this Grey Henge. Eat the Claim the Firstborn. This card's just messed up. If your deck is red and green and you're not playing this, you're making a mistake. It should be in your sideboard. Card is absurd. Speaking of Ob, we're about to cast the other Ob. And this is about to hit real hard. So is this Klothys that is also about to hit really hard. I will kill everything. Klothys is just a ridiculous card. It's just the single best thing you can be doing in matchups like this one. It's just obscene. Opponent claims my 1/1, I will block it. They will sack it to a village rights. Fairly obvious what was happening there. Is my opponent dead? Did that just do 4 damage because of the Obosh? Jesus Christ. 8. Good games. Did you forget about Obosh? My opponent forgot about Obosh. 2 and 0. Let's go. Alright, see you in a bit, chat. Let's keep the hot streak running, shall we? Selesnya Blink. Ugh. Can I keep this? I expect my opponent to be quite slow out of the gates. Okay. I think I can. It's just pretty borderline. Spikefield isn't a bad one to have picked up. Actually pretty happy to lead on it. Because I don't think it kills anything in this matchup. Actual nothing. Turn 2 trail. It's a good one. Turn 3 trail. Let's go get a blue source. Hardcast Wicked Wolf. You got it. Okay. I think I fetch a green here so that I can cast Terror of the Peaks, and if it survives, I get to Great Henge the turn afterwards. It's kind of hard for them to remove a Terror without one of their 2 ECDs. They could wolf it down if they have another wolf. But they burn through 2 food doing that. I will obviously not be blocking here. That does it. That does allow them to do it. It's a little unfortunate. So what I do here is Beanstalk into a green, play the Mammoth, Play this as a blue source. Say go. I really needed to get this henge on the table. So that Urion's pretty backbreaking. Think I can afford to take this hit one more time. Just cast a Visionary. I don't care about that. It's fine. Yeah, opponent correctly played the wolf out on turn 4 and got rewarded for it. Don't currently have the blue source for this, which is a bit of a pain. Go fetch it up. Might be a bit too little too late. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. I have to jump block here. Amiri's call is very good. And that is not very good at all. Jesus Christ. That was possibly the worst ultimatum we've had. Oh. That is very unfortunate. Commence game plan, stay alive. Finds another Urion. Oh. Mm-hmm. Flip away this angel. That was just such a poor ultimatum. If you're gonna have that poor of a chunk of stuff hit the board, you really kind of need to draw another ultimatum off of it. because that was not good. Jesus. Draw to another Brazen Borrower, I guess. That doesn't help. Yeah, okay. That yeah, the terror being killed off early was pretty backbreaking. And we lose game 1 there. Okay, I like Solseer in this matchup. I like Brontodon in this matchup. I don't tend to like Dispute, but when they're on 4 Ameria's calls, maybe I do. Dispute might be fine if I'm expecting the bigger spells to stay, and getting Urian is kind of important, so I think I'm going to try these in this matchup. I want Spikefield and Glasspool gone. I want the Cultivate's gone. They can't be a Dispute deck themselves. What am I expecting from them? The other ECDs probably, maybe even Feasting Troll King. Can't really afford to cut any Mammoths because I'm too low on lands at that point. Is this a Bone Crusher Giant out matchup? It really doesn't kill very much, does it? Let's try something like that. Maybe something like that is fine. Not sure how I feel about that one. I do not play Kazul's Fury, Ernie, no. I don't think I'm often in positions to be able to throw creatures with Kazul's Fury that I'm not already winning anyway. I tend to want my creatures in play most of the time. We already have a lot of reach courtesy of Terror of the Peaks, so I don't think it's a card we want. It might be worth testing. It might legitimately be worth testing, but I don't think so on face value. Hate these kind of hands. Think I can do better. It's not a lot better. Just hold up Borrower here for Trailer Crumbs. Doesn't come. Okay. colour me slightly surprised. Just like a visionary on 3 kind of game. Just a pile of glass caskets, maybe? Yeah, visionary on 3 makes sense. Sure. Willingly casts it into what looks like a stump, and I think he's correct to do so, in fairness. Okay, the ultimatum should be good if we can get to it. It's the getting to it part I'm worried about. Wicked Wolf. Yeah, I had to tap out of Borrower for a turn. I think it's correct to do so, but it does mean the wolf lands and fights. Dispute. Really wanted that innkeeper to stay there. Lands feel like they're probably kind of important right now. That probably has to get countered, right? I think so. Think it has to go. Opponent misses their land drop, which is noticeable. Unfortunately, so do we. The Lovestruck Beast is attacking, so I'm going to get that done now. The rest of the sequencing is kind of hard, though. So, I have a hunch. I have a solid hunch here. My opponent's getting priority back, and that might just be for the wolf. But they could also have one of their sideboard copies of Run Afoul in their hand. And if they do have a Run Afoul, casting this Terror of the Peaks is awful. So I think I'm going with the Lovestruck Beast instead. Might have just talked myself into that. But given they know I have Borrowers, Terrors, and the like, it's entirely possible there is a Run Afoul or 2 in their deck. Another ECD's a bit shit. Didn't want to see that. Guessing they boarded up to 4 would make some sense. Definitely playing land 6. Don't think I'm playing around Run Afoul now, though. Especially if my opponent blocks the Lovestruck Beast with Wicked Wolf. They do. They're just letting it go. No, interesting. I actually thought they might let that go off the back of there being an ECD. How likely do I think it is they have a Urian? Because if they have a Urian... Oh, God. I'm so far off casting this ultimatum now anyway. Oh, Urian is so bad for us if they have it. But what happens if I just hold Borrower instead? They just Urian, I bounce the Wolf, they flicker everything else, draw a card, exile the Lovestruck Beast. Like, I'm not winning if they have it. That's where we are. I can't be a Urian. Oh, man. I think it's coming, chat. I think they have it. Just don't think we would be in it. Because Andy Mammoth is like the worst land to draw because it doesn't even let me fucking cast the ultimatum in 2 turns. What do we do here? Ugh. Four, 8, 12. So this does matter. Opponent just has so many spells left. It's actually kind of amazing to me how much of a pain in the ass Wicked Wolf has been. I didn't think we were going to be that soft to the Wolf. We kind of are. Naked Apparition. Don't think that does it. I can block a flyer, but that's really... I need to peel a blue or a red land and hope for the world's best fucking ultimatum. Mm-hmm. Well, let's let the deck decide if we're still alive. Yeet. Huh. Think we're still alive. Oh no, we were one card down. Somehow still in this. Mental. Truly, truly mental. Skyclave Apparition is actually fine by me. Goes to eat the Bone Crusher, sure. Opponent knows they have to pressure. And they're right, they do. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. I think my opponent is dead. I think. Oh! Okay. Okay. Does my opinion on anything change? I should have that stomp back. It kills apparitions, right? Kills these as well. I actually think a lot of the power of dispute might be gone now they've seen it. Alright. Let's try that. What a fucking game that was. Come on, dude. Not like this. Sure. Didn't want to see a mulligan to 5, obviously, but neither of those hands is keepable. It's not close, so. Opponent also kept a 7, which means there is a good chance there is a Trail of Crumbs in our future. Which means they kept a 14. Okay, no trail at least. No trail. We'll take that. Bum. Oh, fuck. Well, there's the trail. Found the trail. And, well, I mean, my opponent found the trail because they definitely didn't have it on turn 2. If they had it on 2, they just play it. So, they found one. Well, for a 5-card hand, it's going roughly how I expected to, but this is going to be a hard sell. Now there's double Goose Trail. Opponent can just draw 3 cards a turn minimum. Okay. Aggressive Urian, but it finds another Urian, so it's fine. I think that's probably just correct from the opponent. Makes a million food, draws him another card. Okay. Well, no point killing the Urian now. That doesn't achieve very much. I've drawn a large number of green sources this game, which is not good because of this card. Skyclave Apparition's a bit of a beating here. Unfortunately, as I say, Trail plus Geese just finds so many cards. Finds an ECD as well. Yeah, feels like this was over before it began, unfortunately. Just mulliganed to 5. I do not see a way out of this. Second Urian means anything I play this turn is ECDable. If it doesn't get apparitioned, I'm like 4 lands away from casting this. I never survive, so I think I'm willing to hand that to my opponent, which is a little unfortunate, but just mulliganed into oblivion, sadly. Game 3 there, which is going to happen sometimes. Nothing you can much do. 2-1 it is then. So no 2 buys for us, unfortunately. No 6-0, but 2-1. Still a winning record at the moment. Let's update that on screen for all those people that care about that kind of thing. It's funny, me and HEB actually made the same top 8 of a WMCQ about a year ago now. Mono green food. This hand is gunk, and we have to mulligan it. For God's sake. Draws are just kind of falling apart these last couple games. I probably keep this on 6. Can Bone Crush early, Scoozes, Floorhedrons, Geese. Draw a Greenland and get myself out of it. I don't know. This is a real dicey keep, but I think it's better than my average 5. So let's disco. Does have a goose that I will almost certainly stomp into oblivion. That is not a green source. Funky mulligans today. It's a shame, but it happens. Second goose. Yar. That is the opposite of a green source. Quite literally the opposite of a green source. The worst green source in the deck. Oh, yikes. Floorhedron. Yep. More Lovestruck Beasts. This is probably over. I think it's just too little too late, unfortunately. Bricked on the land. Vivian is a good one. He's got 4 of these, by the way, which is certainly worth knowing. I think Vivian's fantastically well positioned right now. And, yeah, as I say, we kept a hand that was a 2-lander on 6, missed the land, sat there and died. Which is not how you want those things to go. Solstice in my deck, please. Thrashing Brontodon in my deck, please. Gotta be honest, I'm hitting a chunk of matchups I'm not overly familiar with, and was kind of hoping to not be playing, if I'm honest. They're not the ones I was looking for, anyway. So I'm not 100% on my sideboarding here. That is keepable. It's very slow, but it is keepable. Goose on 1 always for Gordy. Best card in the deck. Or at least it gives you your best draws anyway. Some thinking to be done by Gordy here. Yikes. I'm actually kind of okay with that. I didn't have very many adventures to fire off with it anyway. Would love an untapped land for turn. Does have the trail. So that was an interesting choice for AGB. Obviously had to consider playing it. And didn't get to as much as he wanted to. He just chose the Primal Might, the Innkeeper instead, which I think is valid. Definitely a real choice to make. Looking for a wolf, I guess? If he finds one, it's pretty disgusting. Oh my god, really? Oh, bruh. Bruh. What are you doing finding wolves? Stop. Okay, I have to Terror, right? I just don't have a choice but to Terror. Troll King? Gotta be a Troll King, right? What? Oh, that makes sense too. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. That makes sense. Castle Garenbrig there doing what Castle Garenbrig does best. Unfortunately, we continue to miss our land drops. What does winning this game look like? And honestly, I need there to not be another wolf, right? This is just what I have. No land drops kind of suck, but it's fine. It's magic. I kind of regret playing the Mammoth, but not massively. The third green source is usually quite unhelpful anyway, because you just can't cast an ultimatum off of it. Yeah. Just kind of getting picked apart here. This is looking awful for us, gotta be honest. Having not played this matchup before, don't get me wrong, we're missing lands, and missing lands is very unhelpful. But definitely a bit of a pounding going on. Can't clear both of these blockers, unfortunately. So I'm not going to try. I'm just going to punch this. Opponent will block with the 3/3, I assume. Yep. So I can Brontodon, put Obosh in my hand. I can Brontodon, hold up Brazen Borrower. I could actually make the 1/1/2 if I do that. Okay, sure. Mammoth is fine. Another castle, yep. You got the Troll King too? No? Just some more 3-drops. Mm-hmm. getting kind of stuck here. Got to get it in play, haven't I? Gordy's clearly played this deck a ton as well because he's just playing at lightning speed. Another Primal Might. It's a good line. Good spot. You can tell Alex is a fantastic player. He's just plucking out these slightly obscure lines at great speed. Has clearly played this deck a ton. Pluck up another goose. It's actually just quite impressive. Just gotta soak up damage and hope we can stabilize. I actually can't even cast an ultimatum if I find one, which is awful, obviously. Okay. Which of these ends up being better? I really want to Soul Sear the Vivian, but I don't think I can do it and stay alive, right? Because if I... This can't block, so I would block, take a million. Like, just a million. I can't do it. So if I still have to block this, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm dead to a land. Guess I'm dead to a land. Yeah, Gordy's just playing fantastically here. It's just very impressive. Our draws have been less than cooperative, but that's going to happen. You can't put it all down to that. Trying to think how we get out of this. Realistically, I don't see it. There's fucking so many lethal threats. I would need to chain off so many creatures here to have a chance. I don't see it. That's definitely not, is it? Is it? Just two very non-functional draws there, unfortunately. And we'll fall to 2 and 2. Damn. What is this? Okay then. Simon Goodman on Is It Control? It has a Thassa's Oracle in it, and 4 copies of Experimental Overload in it. What on fuck's name is this? The 2 and 2 bracket, that's what this is. Alright, let's send our lovely friend a friend request. And try and get a match underway against Is It Control. Tournament match. See if we can get things underway. Spicy. Spicy deck from the opponent. 3 copies of Dwarven Mine. Why? Is it just there to block, or does it do something else? There's a Luna in here. Oh wait, what does that do? So if it mutates, it exiles until you hit a non-land permanent. And the only non-land permanent in the deck is Thassa's Oracle. I see. So this is a combo deck. So my opponent is attempting to control the game until they can play a Dwarven Mine, mutate a Luna onto the Dwarven Mine token, and hit Thassa's Oracle. Interesting. Alright, this is some Fruit Loops. Alright. Oh. Scaredante, thank you very much for resubbing with your Prime, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate the support. Alright, normally I'd be pretty happy to keep this, but against, like, creatureless control, Bone Crusher Giant is not at its best. I can pop the Dwarven Mine tokens, though, I guess. And otherwise I'm just going to cast them as 4/3s and try and get the hench down. So I think this is still a keep, but it's not as easy and clear-cut as it normally would be if I didn't know what my opponent was doing. This deck my opponent is playing looks hot, by the way. Like, is it good? No. Is it great? Maybe. It might also be good. It might legitimately also be good. I don't know. But it looks spicy AF. I am on board. Thrill of possibility. Yes. Okay. So just going to play this tapped, stomp my opponent, and then untap and go Innkeeper into Bone Crusher Giant, I think. More thrills. Yeah, discarding Frantic Inventory, that's a combo. That is what you call a combo. Stomp you in the face. Edgewall Innkeeper. Bone Crusher Giant. If this survives, I do get to cast the Great Henge next turn. It does not. Shock and horror, I know, but... Okay, so, Beanie Boy. Go fetch me a blue source. And then we'll cast another Bone Crusher Giant. What does Experimental Overload do exactly? It just makes a fucking huge idiot and then puts an instant or sorcery back in your hand? Okay. Discards 2 spells there. Okay. Fire Prophecies the Giant. There is basically no counter magic mainboard, by the way. So I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about that. I would like to draw a land, obviously, sooner rather than later. But... Blitz of the Thunder Raptor for 9. Yep, that will do it. Jesus Christ. Okay, land please. Land please. I should have been more specific. This is whack. Opponent's deck is cool AF. Duh, dude. Dude. This is not good. I mean, they could just die. Like, we could just untap, ultimate them, and kill them. But we would need to hit a Terror plus X to do that. Yeet? That is not Terror plus X. That's also not even an untapped blue source. Fucking yikes. Okay. That wasn't close. I mean, it kind of was, but it wasn't. I guess Clothis is pretty good here, honestly. Bloody hell. I'm a little fried by that. That is something. Again, sure, this hand is fine. Opponent does have 4 Dispute, 4 Negate, 2 Miscast in their sideboard. That is a lot. You may opt. That is fine. I think it's fine to run this out. It's unlikely to be drawing cards anytime soon, based on the very texture of our hand. And it makes top decking a 3-mana adventure a lot better, I think. That is alternatively the opposite of a 3-mana trader. Okay, I'm just going to have to go get a red source, I think. We've definitely had a couple of matchups today where I have not known what's happening, and that has like definitely not helped things. Okay, so I could just put Obosh in my hand here, but that feels a smidgen aggressive. Valakut's Awakening. Sure. Windmills, basically the entire hand except for one card. Obviously wasn't a great hand then. Frantic Inventory. Disputing this feels aggressive as fuck. What are the odds they miss their land? I mean, this is just slowly becoming blank. I imagine the Innkeeper gets pasted up a wall here. Okay. Am I supposed to flash in Brazen Borrower to draw a card? I don't think so. I don't think so. Terra, off you go. More frantic inventories. More ways to kill my guys. This is not looking good. Normally, like traditionally anyway, blue-red control decks would struggle to deal with things with fucking 5 toughness, but the way this deck is built just means that my opponent is able to just like blitz the Thunder Raptor everything. To draw 1,000,000 cards off frantic inventories. Where's the Overload? Picks up a blitz. Like, yeah, this is just strong. It's really hard to stick anything. Like, don't get me wrong, the blitz, the Overload tokens are really bad in the face of Brazen Borrower, but I can't actually just stick anything to kill my opponent with, which is proving to be a bit of an issue. It's Windmills their hand again. Valakut's Awakening. Regardless, this deck's super cool. I might have to try something out like this at some point in the near future. Inscription to make a 4/4. The Henge is a great draw. Please and thank you. Put them to 4. Off you go. You may opt. They do really just blast through their deck. This is obscene. Did I just get combo killed? Excuse me? Wow. Well, that is something. Yeah, I guess. I guess that's a way for that to end. Whoa, wow. Opponent's deck, very cool. I am intrigued by what's going on there. I was going to consider doing the 8 o'clock one of these, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think my mental fortitude is there. I just don't think I'm going to get through it. We've already been live for 4.5 hours. And yeah, they do take a little bit out of you. So not exactly how I wanted today to go, I'll be honest. Given that we were 13-3 over 6 matches yesterday. to go 2-3 really kind of sucks. There was some poor variance in there. We definitely caught the bad end of a mulligan or two. But other than that, some cool stuff from the opponent. That was kind of surreal. Okay then.